Here we are. It's Monday. It's just another manic
Meet Monday.
Monday, right? Remember
Yeah.
those days? All right, so I'm super excited to have the one, the only, the magical communications database guru, Yvonne Sandoval, as she says. I say Sandoval, but she has
No,
that owl.
that's fine.
Welcome. It's great to see you. How long has it been? I feel like it's been forever.
Oh, it's been like a million years. It feels like this is a time warp. It's like that hot tub time machine. That's what this
Yes.
COVID is, right?
It's so true. Good morning, Mr. Kalish. Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I've at least kept in contact, thank God for social media, but still to see people's faces, even if it's remote like this, it's like, oh, good, my humans are still around. You just don't haven't seen anybody
I know. It's
physically,
crazy.
and then I always hope to run into somebody at the grocery store, but those trips for me are few and far between.
I know.
So you have survived. You have done a lot, actually. You've been working on a lot, but for those who don't know you, give them a little background on Miss Yvonne.
So, yeah, I've known Ted now going on probably 2.5 years or so. It's going
That's,
on.
yep, yep.
Prior to the Ted show, I knew him before he was famous. No, he was always famous. He was always Ted. So, yeah,
Love
I've been working with real estate agents for the last 5 years, which is crazy. Been a whirlwind. Working with real estate agents, helping them to make sure that they're touching their database, just actually doing it for them so that they can grow their businesses. And as we've been, my moniker is that to strive to thrive. So I've been doing that before we had the apocalypse, and I'm going to continue to do it, through this craziness, and just evolving, like they need to. So I'm evolving as a person and as a business, just like my agents are. So we're in it together.
Well, I want to talk. Jeff Lopez. Hey, Jeff. Good morning. Says she's wonderful.
Aw.
He's awesome. And of course, Batman came on. Hello. Good morning, Batman. Good morning, John.
Hey, John.
So talk a little bit about before, because you weren't always, you have a musical background, which is why we started some of the trivia stuff that we did. We both love music, but you weren't always a database guru.
No, no. I had the boring life of growing up on Broadway in Manhattan.
Really
Uh,
tough
it
life.
was a
Go ahead.
tough life, growing up in New York City. My dad had a recording studio since the day I was born, so that's a long time, over 50 years. And that I grew up in the studio, like literally as a baby. He brought me to the studio. I'd sleep underneath the recording, mixing board, and I grew up doing that and became the studio manager because it was in my DNA to be in that business. So did that for as a profession, as a career for 10 years. And it was a great time. It was in the, late 80s, early 90s. A
Oh,
lot of
that was a good
excitement.
time.
Yeah, it was when music was still, kind of organic, not as digital as it is today. So, yeah, I saw that industry through, and then parlayed that into working with people to help them further their businesses through marketing. Sort of the same kind of biz. You're marketing yourself as a singer, songwriter, voiceover artist, actress.
The
Mhm.
promotion side of it is real. And
Absolutely.
lots of people are saying hi to you. Happy Monday, Anthony Rodriguez. Rose says hola,
Hola.
hola. Yeah, I think you got. I mean, I would imagine any kind of promotion on the artist side, the recording side, that certainly is amazing training ground for pretty much anything. I mean, I think if you can promote and be successful there, you can promote, which is marketing, same thing, business
Yeah.
development, it all kind of rolls together.
Yeah.
But
It's all about relationships. I mean, in that industry, it's, you've heard the saying, it's all who you know. And basically, that's how a lot of these, projects, whether it's a Broadway play, I was doing copies of the sound, of the music for Wicked, about 5 years before Wicked ever became a thing, because the
wow.
producers were shopping it. So they would come to the studio, and they'd be tweaking it and changing it and sending out demos and such, because they were looking for to get producers to pay for this play that they wrote. So these are the kinds of things, is that it's by building those relationships that they were able to get it in front of the right people who would then, put their money and trust them with a very large transaction, which is funding a Broadway play.
Right.
And so I scaled that experience into the business of working with real estate agents. The budgets aren't the same. They aren't Broadway play budgets or movie budget. And then, of course, I worked with the second largest advertising firm here in Central Florida, who they were working with car dealerships throughout the United States and Canada. So once again, large budgets, marketing for a mass audience, television, radio, billboard, and such. Left that and took all of this worldly knowledge, as we call it, or wisdom that both of us have, and using that to, put it into a nice ball, and all of that energy and all of that wisdom and knowledge, bring it to real estate agents and help them to build their businesses. And the reason why is because they're very unique. Real estate agents are individually employed. They are self-employed. They are entrepreneurial, which I find myself to be as well. So I just gravitate to people who are building their own businesses and rely on themselves. So I just
What do
felt,
you think? What do you think I love this topic because I think what you do is awesome, and I love that you continue, like you really do work with them individually. I mean, there's lots of testimonials I've heard, but I want to talk about some of the things, because I think what you do, even though you work primarily with real estate agents, what we're talking about today can be across any particular industry that you're working in. But what are some of the things that I'm going to tell you my don'ts on communication, on database? If you're sending out the same newsletter, Real Estate Friends, as your other 55,000 other people, and it looks exactly the same and comes on the exact same day of the month, every month or every week, if that's all you're doing, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And this is the kind of stuff that Yvonne does. She takes a deep dive into it. So enough about me. Tell them some things that they should be doing, some things that they can do to maybe one or two steps they can improve on what they're doing.
Sure. Well, a great point. When I teach marketing, and part of in the class I talk about how one class in particular, large brokerage, nationwide, actually worldwide brokerage. I asked everyone, are you using the CRM that you were given, and are you checking the box off that sends out that newsletter automatically for you every month? And half the people in the class said, yeah, we're doing it. And I said, well, that's great. So you're all here aware that, on Saturday you sent out an email through your CRM, and it was a great article. It was written by a top veterinarian, and he has his own show, don't you know, on, and it's on Animal Planet. It's awesome. And the article was about how to declaw your own cat at home, a DIY. It's fantastic, right? Everybody, they were like, yeah. And I said, you know what? I'm only kidding, but it might as well be, because none of you even know what's going out.
Correct.
You're just letting the old stuff go out. And, so yeah, it had your name on it. But other than that, you just really have no clue. So, what to do right is not do that. Number two,
number one, don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't let your message be the message that came from a corporate office that was writing in mass. That's placeholder material. That's stuff that's there that, if you can't get around to it, that something does go out rather than not. So, but don't live your business on a rather than not basis. Make sure you're focusing your communications to reflect who you are, so people can gain familiarity and commonality with you, because commonality and familiarity equal trust. And you're asking someone to trust trust them with the largest transaction of their lives. So, that's a lot to ask of anyone. So in order to do that, you got to actually be authentic, and you got to be vulnerable. So you have to let people know who you are. Ted's, everyone take a page from Ted's book. He is authentic, genuine, and vulnerable. So much so that everyone, all of us who are his friends and who are his, his audience, we know that anything he tells us is going to come from the heart. It's going to come from a base of truth. It's going to be a place of that trust. So that's what Ted does. Do what Ted does, and be genuine self, and communicate on a frequent basis like Ted does. He puts himself out there every day to bring the community to you, and he's doing that because he comes from the heart, but he's doing it because he's wants to be that resource for you. And so you need to be like Ted. That's basically kind of the
Wow.
marketing message.
I didn't know you were going to say that, but that's very sweet.
I didn't know I was going to say that.
Good morning, Ellen. Good morning, Maggie. Well, I think your message is it's so true. You have to be you. The problem is a lot of people don't even know what that means because they're so used to being robotic on their social media and their marketing and reaching out to their databases and they don't be more like Ted Rose says. That should be the opposite of what you tell your children. But oh, I love you too, Jeff. But I think that people, you don't want to be robotic. You can't just push a button like you were saying, and then people don't know what that means. So if I like and collect dolls from the 50s and 60s, you just have to kind of know what you want to do. I'm not saying share all your dirty laundry. That's not what Yvonne's saying. But it has to be unique to you. It has to come. People can smell it a mile away if you're not being authentic.
Well, it's funny because I participate in one of these Facebook groups, and this weekend, the small business owners, which is it's a worldwide Facebook group. Somebody said, what is it that you're doing that you're not doing in your marketing that you should be? And one person wrote, hiring marketers. That's what I shouldn't be doing. So of course I'm going to chime in on that one. And I said, what is it that you're doing that you feel marketers couldn't help you with? Because I certainly don't cut my own hair. I don't mow my own lawn. I don't do my own dentistry. I don't do a lot of things. And prior to this, this COVID thing, I don't think a lot of people were even making their own coffee. So if they were leveraging all of these things out, but when it comes to your marketing, you feel like, well, I got time on my hands. Let me do it myself. I would have hair up to here, all of us, you have to know where your skill set lie, and then you use that. And another person chimed in, well, it's so expensive. I don't do it because I'd rather take my money and save it for other things. And I'm thinking to myself, in a bad economy, marketing is something that you can't afford not to do.
Yes,
and in a good economy, you can't afford not to do it. So, because you have to prepare, even if it's a good economy, for when the economy is going to not be so good. And who knew, right, that this was going to happen? So I say to my clients who were, who had started this project in doing their projects prior to COVID, they were the ones who had the foresight to say, you know what, I'm not going to always be able to communicate effectively, consistently, purposefully, with my own genuine and authentic self. So let me get that in place for the whole year. So they had done that because COVID thing ran around, and now they no longer can do pop buys. They no longer can do a client appreciation in face to face. They're limited. Maybe God forbid, there's something going on medically with their family. Their attention is now directed elsewhere, and when that happens, they can't do the communication that they need to do. And NAR, they do a survey every week. They survey real estate agents, asking them, questions such as, what is the feelings of buyers? What are the feelings of sellers right now? And we're looking at numbers of 45 to 55% of buyers and sellers saying that they're going to be putting off purchasing or selling their home over the next few months. So what that's saying to you, the survey, you should always go to NAR and you utilize their resources. Their studies are amazing. But I go there to look because what's telling me is that the people who are surveyed are saying, I'm not in the market for the next couple of months, or I'm not going to put my house on the market for the next few months. Stay in touch with me. That's what they're saying. So
say that again because it's so important. Wait, I have to say, Nick says hi, great advice. Marita, good morning. I just want to give Ellen and Maggie, hi guys. That is such great advice. To say it again because I think people need to hear that.
When these people are saying to you in their surveys, 55 to 45% are saying we're going to wait. They're saying, please stay in touch with me.
Stay in touch.
They're not saying, hey, don't bother getting in touch with me. I'm not going to be ready for 3 or 4 months, don't you know? No, they're saying, be in touch with me this whole time, because when I'm ready, I'm going to pull the trigger, and I need someone to be my real estate agent.
So I think, let me ask you, because I used to think it's so interesting how everybody defines what staying in touch means. It's different, right? So
Yeah.
to me, I think a lot of it doesn't have to be real estate, but we'll use that. It could be any industry that uses these generic, and I'm not picking on newsletters, guys, but it's in my brain. Generic. If that's your only means of staying in touch, if you hit the button, paid for it, and that's the only contact you've had, that's not what Yvonne is talking about. There's ways to touch you, and you can talk about how many times to touch, but it's so important that they have to feel it came from you, not the robot that is. So I'll let you go.
I had, I want to talk about one of the classes I did in February. And after class, it was a database class. And afterward, I had a gentleman come up to me and say, well, he's got a plan in place. He doesn't need to have the multiple touches like I was talking about. And I said, well, that's great, but let me know what is this miracle thing that you're doing? Because he's doing something. And I honestly wanted to know. I wanted, because I always want to evolve and learn. And he said that his plan was to door knock 35,000 homes over the course of 12 months, and he had the math done. And I said 2 things to him. I said, I have the number of a fantastic divorce attorney for you, because you're never going to be home, and you're going to neglect your family. And I said, second thing is that when you have all your eggs in one basket, that basket better be made of steel, because you never know when the bottom's going to fall out. And, this was in February.
Kind of like COVID.
Yeah. And, I felt for the person, but when he told me, and I always ask, where are you from? I want to know, what was your previous, life like? Because that's where your database is going to come. And he told me I don't want to single the person out, but he worked for the largest company in the United States for 20 years. So he had built up a database, and also his wife works for the largest company that's in women's apparel, and also so they had a database there as well. So when you combine these 2 databases, which he had not done, he would have been able to gotten business during this time, because door knocking is not part of the scenario. So with that being said, the things that people can be doing, yesterday again on that forum, somebody said, well, where it's at, it's social media. And once again, you can't build a home with just a hammer. You have to be in all different places. So yes, what I do for my clients and what I recommend to others is doing your communications over multiple platforms. So you have social media, you have video, you have email, direct mail. Of course, you will at some point be doing face-to-face again. And as a matter of fact, we'll be doing on my Friday show, which is called the Real Estate Show with a View, with Nick Acosta, who's from eXp Realty.
Nick.
We're going to be talking about how to be having some face-to-face events right now. And there are some safe ways of getting people out of the house to appreciate their business and appreciate your database that you probably haven't thought of. And we also have some really good thoughts brainstormed yesterday on open houses and how to collect data. He had about 13 people come to his open house in person.
Nick's amazing. Mm-hmm. He really is.
But you know what? It's all about collecting that data from those people who come in. The looky-loos, and separating them out because a couple of people told him, hey, we're just coming to get out of the house. That's fine. Come out of the house. At some point, that person may want to buy a home, or their friends, family, neighbors, co-workers. So the impression that he made on those looky-loos is an impression that's going to help build his business. Yes. So I have plenty of ideas of how to make an open house.
What time's the show? 2 on Friday.
2 on Fridays. We have plenty of ideas on how to make, and you put it this way, just like Ted, me and Ted are good friends, and we are very much on the same page in the way we think, and we come from contribution. It's just who we are.
Yes.
Nick's an EXP. I'm a marketing company, but we're going to be coming to you with regardless. Doesn't matter what brokerage you're with. Doesn't matter if you're my client or not. I'm going to give you, these tips because you know what? There's plenty of work for everyone. There's plenty of business
There
for
really is.
everyone.
Why you said it. You come from a place of contribution, or I like to say abundance. You come from a place of abundance rather than lack. And if you
Yeah.
come from the abundance perspective, you're always going to be ahead of the game. I don't think people believe it. Rose Kemp says Yvonne rocks. Be more like Yvonne too.
Aw,
Those are our new hashtags. Let me ask you that you. I want to talk about touches really quick. The
sure,
appropriate kind.
sure.
How many appropriate touches should they have during the year? Because I know you've talked about this before in your presentations, and define what a touch is.
Sure. So, I've changed formulas simply because over the last 5 years, I have found that, although we want to have at least 36 or so touches going out throughout the year, I need to be able to work within your skill set, within your wheelhouse, and what you feel comfortable with. So every agent I consult with is going to have a plan that's going to fit their business. But we want to have a number of touches, at least 2 per month going out. And it could be on different platforms. It could be an email. It could be a social media post. It could be a video that's sent to them. It could be a direct mail piece that's going to be of value. We're not selling people. We are engaging people. I think that's what we have to, we have to understand marketers, which is seems to be a bad word. We're
Why
here to
is
build.
that? It drives me
Oh, it's
crazy
like
because
used car salesman.
I
It's like,
stumble over it. I stumble over it as well, and I'm like, well, that's why do we have to put such pretty label like business development? I mean, it's
yeah,
marketing, people, relationships, maybe.
it's
I don't know.
relationships. We're relationship builders, connectors. We put the pieces together. You already have all the pieces inside of you. All we do is glue them together, and then we make sure that they're presented in a compliance in this industry,
Yeah.
compliant way, and in also in an effective, consistent way. So you have everything you need within you. It's just that you don't know how to put it out there, put it on paper, or put it on paper, or put it into a formula that works. So that's what a marketer does. Plenty of us know how to floss and brush our teeth, but we certainly couldn't do our own root canals. So yes, you can do the maintenance, you can do the things you need to do, but you need to have your deep cleaning. And the deep cleaning for me is for you to let us sit down with you. I also do consulting work. So if that's something that, if you just want to sit down and you just want to talk out strategy, I've had people ask me things about, their business, their offices, down to, what should be the benefit package for my incoming agents. So brokers consult with me and also agents about just everything under the sun from a sales perspective. So, in terms of getting your business on a thrive, strive to thrive kind of path, just take a look at what you're doing now and what can be complemented. Are you speaking to your database? First of all, what's your database, right? Everyone's like, what's my database?
Why is it that so many people don't know what that means? I agree, and
Yeah.
I just it's so funny.
I think
Rose
it's a
got my
complicated word. It's like what doctors do is that they speak in Latin. My brother's a doctor, and he says the reason why they speak in Latin is to keep you feeling un below them, at below, almost like that, but almost below them. Keep them at a mystery. They're a mystery. The things that they're talking about. So they speak in Latin. But marketers kind of have done that for years, and they've painted themselves into a corner. So what I've decided to do, and many of us in the industry, is just speak plain. And your database is your contacts in your phone. That's a database. When people say that they don't have one, unless you're telling me you literally know no one, then you have a database. I mean, it's impossible that you didn't go to kindergarten and have a friend, that you made in the playground. You have friends, you have people that you come in contact with in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however old you are. Those people are the people that are going to be the ones who speak about you when they speak to their friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, and
Yes.
partners, they're the ones who are going to refer you business. Every agent knows that their business comes from referral. 20% comes from new leads, people who are strangers into your business. And then the other 80% comes from people that you knew, people from prior transactions, coworkers, Aunt Betty's, neighbor,
Hey, Aunt
um,
Betty's
Aunt
neighbor.
Betty's neighbor who's, looking to sell her home. These are the people who are going to build your business. So if you're only posting on social media, and that's you think about the guy who's door knocking. You laughed at him, right? But when I have plenty of people say, "Well, I only focus on social media." How different is that than the door knocking person? I mean, it's really no different. You have
None.
to don't laugh at Mr. Door Knocker when you yourself are just putting all your eggs in one basket. So yeah, it's hard. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't do everything myself. Things from my business that I don't know how to do, I hire. I have people. I have contractors who work for me. I don't do it all. So you know what?
It's
To grow
very
my
difficult to do it all, and that's what people. The problem is, you were mentioning it earlier, and then I believe it or not, we're running out of time, as I knew we would.
yeah
But I think that people, they don't, they look at social media and they get overwhelmed,
yeah.
and so they want to hire someone. And the thing that I always tell my social media people is that make sure that you really are pricing yourself in a way that volume could make up for what you're doing. If you're only posting 5 to 10 times a week for someone, then you could get a lot of those kinds of clients. Anyway, that's for a whole social media discussion. But the
Oh,
thing is
sure.
that people don't. They get overwhelmed and they don't know what to do. All right, so I'm used to posting me and my guys, girls gone wild
Yeah.
videos. Now all of a sudden I'm going to post something business like. What do I do?
Yeah.
So what do they do? What's a
Well,
first post? What's a post that makes sense? And you can talk real estate, it's fine. What's a post
yeah.
that makes sense, that isn't like everyone else's, that they could do from the heart?
Well, the biggest thing I find, because I'm doing social media for my clients now. There's two reasons why I do it the way I do it. I have motivationals, I have real estate related, I have do you knows, basically value, things that people would find eureka moments that when they read it, they're like, oh, didn't know that. So you're bringing them some kind of sense of knowledge outside of their wheelhouse. You have to be coming from the heart, so you feel like a motivational will be something really great. It can even be a motivational related to real estate, which I have tons of those as well in my social media product that I do. And then I want the clients to post these posts themselves. I don't find value in you having somebody in a maybe a remote location posting your media for your social media for you, because what that does is it takes you out of the engagement. I need for you to
Right.
engage with your clients and the people who like your posts, so that those posts can now be seen by others, and that when you do see an opportunity, and only an entrepreneur is going to see that opportunity, not somebody who's posting it for you. The entrepreneur is going to jump on, make the contact. How can I help you? Thank you for liking it. Things like that. So the posts that I'm seeing out there, some of them are really great, and some of them are just kind of lay flat. I really like the GIFs, I'm really using them as well in my business. So we see they're moving images that capture people's
Yes.
attention. All you're trying to do is stop people from scrolling and give you 2.5 seconds of their time. So social media is a short attention grab, and short attention grabs you can't build your business on. But you can absolutely use them because you need to paint with a wide brush. So you need to have the social media posts. I'm also doing, and this is something I recommend for everyone, is video. I believe in mission statements. I believe in letting people know what your mission, vision, value, and purpose is. I'm now doing video mission statements. So you know what? People can see your mission statement in 30 seconds or less. You
Yes.
got music, you have visual, you have great graphics, and those are going out to new leads. So when a new lead comes in, a video mission statement goes out. That is so much more
I
effective
love that.
than a written post or written email. So, having things like that in your wheelhouse that are affordable, because that's the one thing I'm hearing everybody say right now.
Right.
Oh, that's everything's so expensive, or I can't afford that right now. I have to lead with revenue. A lot of us are not being able, not saying not me particularly, but a lot of people don't have revenue to lead with right now. So what does
Correct.
that mean? That means you have to invest. Okay, we're getting away from the word investment because I have a lot of people focusing on expenses instead of profits. So let us look at not only maybe not saying just utilizing me, utilizing anyone in your business, leveraging in your business to help you to strive to thrive, grow, maintain, keep a foundation. There's things you can do yourself, and I'm here, to help you with that as well. But there's things that need to be put in place so that you can do what the people of the NAR survey asked you to do, which
Right.
was please keep in touch. I'm going to be ready in a few months or ready, in 2 months. Please don't turn a blind ear to those people. Listen to what they're saying and keep in touch with them effectively. Don't try to sell them. They already told you they're not looking to
Yeah,
buy
we
or
don't want to
sell.
be sold.
They don't want to be sold. Nobody wants to be sold. What people need is they need to be resourceful. And I'm a resource, and I want Ted's a resource. Take a page from the two of us. Put that out there and stop sending them all the properties you just sold. Stop telling them how great you're killing it. Don't keep
We
selling
should
them.
definitely do a whole show on that.
Oh,
All
the
right.
sell the
I,
love.
I
I
have
love
I
myself.
have to, unfortunately,
Oh, no
I
worries.
have
Okay.
to let them know how they can get in touch with you. Because as
Yes,
usual, we could talk for hours.
I know.
And you have to come back because that subject you just touched on, oh God, it needs a lot of work. But what's the best way they can reach you, get more information about Leverage 365 and all of that good stuff?
Sure. Sure. So getleverage365.com. It's at the bottom of your screen scrolling. You can go to my website. You can go to Yvonne Sandoval to my personal page, which is where I build my best relationships. Leverage 365 has a Facebook page as well. And just, you can call me, text me, email me, anything you want. Watch our show on Friday at 2 p.m. On my Facebook page, Yvonne Sandoval or Nicholas Acosta of eXp Realty, either of our pages. And we're going to just have some great stuff to just come from contribution. We're not looking for anything other than to help you.
That was awesome. We did it. I know. I'll probably see you sometime, maybe this week.
Hopefully
We're all going
back
to
to the
start.
club.
I'm going to start to try to venture out. So this is going to be interesting. I might document how that goes. But you're awesome, guys. She's amazing. So please reach out to Yvonne. She has a heart of gold and loves to help anybody who needs help with their database and communicating with it for sure. Thank you so much. You were awesome. Woo.
Thanks, Ted.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
guys, we're out. We'll see you later. Mwah. Talk
Bye,
to you
guys.
later. Bye, guys.